Do you also have that car that's in the part of storage where you pass by and you look at it, and every time you pass by you go like, ooh, that was a great car to run, why don't I put it up again, or maybe next time? And then you pass by again and you remember and you smile because it was such a great car and you can't remember why you left it there.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me, you know, that or his dudeness or duder or, you know, El Duderino.
And to me, it is that Panoz, that Fly Panoz with the front motor, as you can see here, that I managed to set up so well, and it just was so much fun to drive, so smooth to drive, no problem at all. Solved all the headaches with the front motor and the setup. And let's see how I did it. Of course, magnet out and a lot of weight in, as you can see. It's underneath the rear axle, left and right, even where the motor is, and even in front of the front wheels, I put some weight, and I put it on the scale, and it actually shocked me. So that's nearly 100 grams. Of course, that car was good to drive. I mean, it's like a tank, you know. So, but then I remembered what the problem was. Those chassis would break. As you can see down below, there's a crack there. So the rear axle wouldn't hold. That is one side of the chassis. And the other side of the chassis I checked, and that was even worse, as you can see here. So you can't use that chassis anymore. No way at all. So what do? You've got a car that you like or you love, and the chassis is broken. Nowadays, no problem. You go to the internet, you put in Fly Panoz 3D chassis, and you get many suggestions of chassis that are available for that car. So I ordered one. It was ordered in Spain. The company is called Oliver, and that's what it looks like. Pretty awesome, if you ask me. And it is set up to host or comfort a slotted sidewinder motor pod, which is even better to me, or which I prefer even more. And of course, once the chassis is out, let's check if it's flat, and that chassis was super perfect flat, nothing to complain, and everything there where you need it, including a good axle holder. The front axle holder, I'll come back to that in a minute. Let's flip it around and see what's there. So you see 3D printed, but perfect. I mean, even the holes for the screws were perfect. So what do you order? What do you get? Now, of course, a conversion kit with the Sidewinder motor pod. I will document all the parts that I used with part numbers, so you'll be able to write them down, make yourself a list if you want to go down that road. And of course, the second thing after the motor pod, as the name says, is we need a motor for the pod. So I ordered a 21,000 RPM from Slotted as well. That should do the job pretty good. And of course, we need tires. I'm also using slotted tires here. I'm using a lot of slotted parts on that chassis. It's the G25 racing tires, a compound that I really love. So easy to chew, so good to drive. And of course, we need rear rims, sideways with a lot of holes in it, very light, and front rims also from sideways. I had them in my parts box, and the front rubber was already on. The rubber I use usually for front tires, if they are that slim, are the PT19. They are really, really flat and very thin and easy to put on. And I just wanted to show you how thin they actually are here in this picture, just to give you an idea. Next is for the motor pod, we need to press in those self-leveling bushings. Shouldn't be a problem. And there you go. That's already the first test setup. For the testing, I use different rims than in the end. So don't be confused if you see those rims that I have here during most of the video. I put the motor in to see how it fits very well. But of course, the first problems show up. I'll come to the problem section later on. Next thing to do is, of course, we need to press on that pinion. That's my pinion press. Very easy to use. Left-hand side, you have the pinion. You put in the motor with the motor shaft, in this case, even in the motor pod, no problem, and you just press it on. That's the one I use. I really love it. Easy to use. Now, problem section. The counter shaft touches the rubber, which means either cut off that shaft or chew down the tires so that they pass by. In the end, I cut the motor shaft. Then on those motor pods, on this motor pod, there are those, I call them ears, with the 2 holes in it, need to be cut off. Plus, now that we're using a sidewinder chassis, that's where the motor is directly under the cockpit, the body just won't fit. So let's start solving that problem first. Looking in my parts box for a very flat 3D cockpit, found one. Now need to cut out the original one and put that back in the parts box. That's not so hard to do. You can see the size difference, and of course there's a lot of weight difference going along there as well. Yes, it'll be a 3D one, but not as deep as the original one, and test fitting, yes. Now the body drops down all the way to the chassis. Well, nearly, as you can see, but that's some minor adjustments on the inlet to be made. Not a big deal. Front axle holder. Now, if you look closely, you'll see a small round hole on the bottom of the front axle holder. And this is why I'm using also in this chassis those self-leveling bushings that can be put in there and height adjusted. Of course, we need some eyelets for the guide. The guide came out of my parts box, and the next step was to the tires on the rims. And as you can see here quite well, this is the imperfection that you get automatically even if you use an aluminium rim, and that's why you chew the tire. And you can see it very well here, the shiny part and the part where it is already chewed. Again, just to show you, this is what it looks like. So I chewed the rear tires. What I'm using instead of the magnets is the tungsten ballast from Slotted that have the same shape as the magnets, and they just snap into those magnet holders, and you've got a perfect weight distribution already. I put in 2. I'm going to test out if 2 are okay. I used scale out screws for the body section to hold the body, and I had those. I think they are slotted. The 4836 is a parts number. I can't remember whether it was slotted or not. Threaded screws, and for the braid, sorry, I used those sideway braids. And here you can see how it looks when the bushings are in and level adjusted. And I can really lower that body to where I want it. So this is the nearly finished setup. Please note, I put some weight in the front as well. And of course, after touring, one of the first tests is always, because I don't have a track at home, put it on that roller bed and see if it's quiet, yes or no. And it is very quiet, very smooth running, no hopping around, no jumping around of the chassis, which is a good thing. And again, that's a test I always do when I do setups. Now, things that went wrong. Yes, I destroyed the chassis more or less on the left rear because I was too, I don't know, forceful, and one of the eyelets came off, but I managed a workaround. So this is the final setup car with the rims that I showed you. The height is adjusted on the front. On the rear, those rims are a little bigger, so I don't have the problem with ground clearance anymore. But I had to cut off that motor shaft on the second side. And as you can see, I'm using some different screws all the way from motor pod, rear body holder, and front body holder screws, old screws. So this is the final test before we go to the track. This is important to me. Again, I want to have it as smooth running as possible. And yes, this is a smooth operator, I would say. And here we go. If you like this kind of content, please leave a like. If you want to get informed when I issue new videos, feel free to subscribe to my channel. It's free of charge. Leave comments, share, tell others. Just feel free to stroll around in my channel, ask questions, all slot car related. You ask them, you get an answer. No problem. So this is what we will do. I will take this car with me to our club track, test it there, of course do a short video on it, and after that I will send it off to Anders, to Sweden, so that he can actually test the car as well. And it will be very interesting to see what he thinks about it. Now, one thing I have not told you yet, and that is the changes I had to do on the body. You don't see it from the outside, but first of all, in the rear, I had to glue in the spoiler, rear spoiler, and the, how do you say, the chassis, the plastic chassis part that holds actually this spoiler. And in the front, I had to cut away the front spoiler that you can see that comes out of the nose, because that's attached to the original chassis as well. So that was cut off and glued back on to the body. That way it looks like the old car. Now, if you like what you've seen, of course, as mentioned before, please subscribe, tell others. And of course, you know what's coming up. As always with Slotcar Dude, don't forget, there is more to come.